So your kids have left the nest finally. But that doesn't mean that your adventure is over. Far from it. What if your next chapter takes you abroad, working in a beautiful new country, while living life on your terms? In this video, I'll show you how exactly to find a job overseas as a single parent, empty nester, so that way you could turn this new freedom into the life that you've always dreamed of. Let's get started. Hi, my name is Jason, and this is the Spend Channel, Single Parent, Empty Nester, Digital Nomad, where I help single parents over 40 turn their empty nest years into a time of exploration, freedom, and meaningful work abroad. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through what kinds of jobs are available to people like us, where to find them, what you need to do to get hired, and how to start taking action this week. So if you've been daydreaming about a life in Mexico, Costa Rica, Spain, France, or what have you, stick around, because it's more possible than you might think. Mindset. This is the perfect time. I get it. Moving abroad, alone, in your 40s, 50s, or even 60s sounds daunting. But this stage of life is actually perfect for you. You'll likely have fewer day-to-day responsibilities, more clarity about what matters to you, and a real hunger for purpose. And yes, you absolutely can get hired abroad or even online, even if you're not a techie or a world traveler yet. In fact, I've heard stories of people in their 50s who started teaching English in Thailand, working remotely from Spain, or doing hospitality exchanges in South Africa, and loving it. Job types that work for empty nesters. Let's talk about job options. Here are some of the most realistic and rewarding paths you could take. First one is teaching English with a TEFL or TESOL certificate. TEFL, that stands for Teaching English as a Foreign Language. That's the certificate that I hold. TESOL is similar. It stands for Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. This is great for native English speakers, where if you're from the United States, which is where I assume most of you are from, or if you're from the UK or Canada, this is a great option for you. This can be done online or in person at a public school for children or an English-speaking private school that's geared towards working adults. You have a lot of options. You can do this in countries like Mexico, which is where I'm living right now. You could do this in Colombia, Vietnam, Poland, and a lot of other countries that have a demand for native English speakers. I went to school at ITTO, that's the International Teacher Training Organization. They're based here in Guadalajara, Mexico. It was a 140-hour program, and I got 10 hours of actual real-world teaching experience to students ranging, the youngest were in their late teens, early 20s, all the way up until retirement age. Skill levels ranging from A1, which is brand new to the language, all the way up to C1, which is near native level, near fluency. So it ran the gamut. It was a very rewarding experience. You could work remotely online. You could work as a virtual assistant. You could do customer service work, writing blogs, editing written materials, graphic design, and a lot more. You could work online for US-based companies while living in a foreign country like Mexico, for example. This is great if you need the flexibility to communicate with your adult children who are still stateside, or maybe you need to stay in touch with your aging parents. Working online gives you additional flexibility, so that way you could tailor your own schedule to your own specific situation and needs. You could try work exchange or seasonal jobs. There are websites workaway.info, there's worldpackers.com, other similar platforms that offer room and board in exchange for part-time help. I'll make sure to put links to all these resources in the description. And this is not a long-term job, but it's great for low-cost travel and also cultural immersion. I recently learned about WWOOF. It stands for Worldwide Opportunities in Organic Farming. WWOOF is in 130 countries around the world. You could live on an organic farm. They put you up. They give you free room and board and meals in exchange for you working part-time. Typically 6 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's 30 hours a week. Quite doable. And in fact, I'd like to give this a try after I work as an English teacher for a couple of years. You also have jobs in tourism and hospitality. Some areas do hire foreigners for guest services, teaching yoga, or working in cafes or hostels. But the thing is, you cannot take a job away from a local citizen. It's not fair to them or the country. So that is the one caveat in jobs in the tourism and hospitality industry. You just need to be aware of that. These jobs could be in especially high demand in expat-heavy areas or tourist towns like Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, for example. but you will need to do some research ahead of time. Make sure that you're not taking a job away from a local who really needs the income. So here's my pro tip. Think about your skills. What countries would value them? Can you teach? Can you cook? Can you host? Can you be a tour guide? Can you write? Are you a native English speaker? Those are all things that can be used as an asset abroad. Where to find these jobs? There are online platforms. There's Dave's ESL Cafe. There's tefl.org, preply.com, cambly.com, italki. These are all good for online tutoring in English. Remote jobs. You can go to We Work Remotely. There's remote.co, flexjobs.com, just to name a few. Work exchange. You can go to workaway.info. There's also worldpackers.com. Those are two other good options for you. I also recommend networking in real life. You can go to networking groups. If you're still in the United States, you might be able to find some networking groups that are geared towards potential and future expats. You might need to do some research there. Also, go online, go on Facebook. Do a search for the country of your choice and expats, like expats in Mexico, Costa Rica expats, so on and so forth. You get the idea. Go on LinkedIn. Connect with expats and recruiters who are already living in the country of your choice. Reach out to them. You could also visit local schools or businesses when you're traveling in the country that you're choosing. Pro tip is create a simple professional email address and a resume tailored to the exact job that you want. If you're teaching English online, I recommend filming a short, friendly introductory video. Just 1 or 2 minutes of you showcasing your personality and your qualifications. That would go a long way and help you stand out. What you'll need to do to get hired. Depending on the job, this is what you might need to start. For English teaching jobs, like I've said, get a TEFL certificate. It should be at least 120 hours of training. At ITTO in Guadalajara, it was 140 hours. And I also took a 25-hour class in teaching business English. So if you want to get into English teaching, I definitely recommend specializing. You could specialize in teaching children. You could specialize in adult education. You could specialize in teaching English online. I chose to specialize in teaching business English because I have over 25 years experience in the business world. I've worked with engineers, scientists, lab technicians, attorneys, paralegals, legal secretaries, business managers, and all sorts of other people. You're going to want a simple resume tailored to the job you want. So if you want to teach English, you're going to definitely need not only the TEFL certificate, but it's good to have a 4-year degree. Not every country requires this. Southeast Asian countries require the 4-year degree, but not so much in Latin America. But if you do have a 4-year degree, it'll help you stand out. You want to put that on your resume along with your teaching credentials, any teaching experience you have, even if it's informal like mentoring or tutoring in any other subject. Volunteer work will help you stand out. And also, like I said, an introductory video, you can host it on your own YouTube channel. And also, if you're going to be teaching online, definitely have a neutral background and a good headset and a camera. You need the right equipment. And you also need a good, strong Wi-Fi connection. So before you look for online teaching jobs, get your ducks in a row. Make sure your setup works good and your Wi-Fi is strong. Can't emphasize this enough. For remote jobs that aren't related to teaching, you want to have, of course, an updated resume that's tailored to the job you want. Have the basic tech skills down. You need to be able to use online messaging platforms like Slack. Learn how to use AI apps like ChatGPT. You definitely need to learn AI now. In fact, yesterday. Because if you've been watching the news, companies like Microsoft are laying off people by the thousands because AI is replacing a lot of entry-level white-collar jobs. If you learn AI, learn the basics of prompting, you'll be ahead of the curve. You need to have a stable wireless internet connection and a quiet place to work. And of course, you'll need a few hours to apply for these jobs and also to follow up. If you're doing work exchange, you want a completed profile with photographs, references, and your availability. You should have a clear explanation of what it is you can offer, what your skills are. Can you do gardening, cleaning, whatever it might be? Make sure you write it down. I mentioned worldwide opportunities on organic farms. You don't need any experience. You just need the physical capability to do farm-related work. Gardening, horticulture, permaculture, dealing with farm animals, so on and so forth. And of course, if you're looking for any jobs, whether they're online or offline, make sure you have a positive, flexible attitude, some humility, and a willingness to learn. Special consideration for single-parent empty nesters like myself. You're not just any traveler. You're somebody who's raised children, oftentimes with a spouse who's either absent or not cooperative. You've built a life, and maybe you still support other people right now, emotionally or financially, or both. Here's how you navigate that. Choose countries with affordable flights home if needed. Mexico and Canada fit the bill. Personally, I prefer Mexico. Look for places that have solid health care and good expat infrastructure. Again, Mexico is great. You need to be able to speak at least a little Spanish here. Downsize with intention. Sell, store, or donate your things. Theoretically, 80% of the joy and utility comes from only 20% of your belongings. This means get rid of 80% of your stuff, whether you sell it, trash it, donate it, or whatever you want to do. You can even put it in storage. A 5x5 storage is what I have right now, and it only costs me $20 a month. Build a support network as soon as you can. You can go on groups on Facebook. Go to meetup.com and join meetup groups. Go to language exchanges. People that want to learn English, you help them, and you want to learn the local language like Spanish, they'll help you out. First steps you can take this week. Here is what you can do today to start this journey. Number 1, pick 1 or 2 countries that excite you. For me, that's Mexico and Belize. Number 2, research what kinds of jobs are common there. Maybe you could start a business there. Maybe you could buy an existing business. Say, for example, somebody owns a bed and breakfast and they want to retire. Perhaps you could take over that business for them. It's worth a look. Number 3, sign up on at least one platform. There's tefl.org, workaway.info, or one of the remote jobs that I just mentioned before. Join one expat Facebook group and introduce yourself. How to find them? Type expats in Mexico, expats in Italy. You get the idea. Comment below with your top choice, that way we can cheer you on. Put your choice in the comments below. And finally, to wrap things up, you've already done something incredible by raising children, maybe more than one child, with a parent who was not always around or just plain uncooperative. Now this is your turn to explore, grow, and do something bold for you, finally. And if you haven't already, be sure to download my 2 free PDF guides. They're linked in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And let me know in the comments section, where are you dreaming of going? Name your top 1, 2, or even 3 choices. I'm very curious to know what those are. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. We'll see you soon. Take care.